My boy just decided to come in and join the live. It is an absolutely gorgeous day in Boulder, Colorado. I already went to one of our local off-leash dog parks and took a nice stroll around, listening to a meditation and taking in some rays of the beautiful sun and just walking with my boy here. So that was an awesome start to the day. Just trying to give it a moment here to see who's going to come on live. I'm a couple minutes late, but not as late as yesterday. I'm here. Cool. Well, I'll just begin talking. I know those of you who listen to the replay later are here, and I'm so glad you're here too, and that you can get value from this, even if you can't make the live time. So today is day 4, which, oops, I forgot to put that in the comments. I'll try to change that later. Day 4 of our challenge, Raise Your Prices, and how to get over the fear of charging high ticket. And today I'm actually going to dive into a little bit more of the business practical steps that you need to understand. Hey, Jen. In order to have a high ticket business, all right? So yesterday we talked more about the esoteric, metaphysical, like energetics of calling in more wealth. And, you know, one of the things that I see a lot with my clients is, even though I can give them the tools, thank you for the hearts, even, you know, giving them more tools on like we've talked about this week, and like what exactly, how you need to think about charging more, and why it's not, you know, bad to charge more. And actually our clients get better results when we charge more. And what are the niches that we can charge more for, and how to fit into a high ticket niche. All those things are really important, but what's really important, you know, the basis of all of that is our ability to cultivate, create, and hold more wealth. Because if we have an old money story running, no matter how many practices we put in place, no matter if we even say we've raised our prices and this is what we're going to do, if we have some junk going on in our energetics around money and wealth, well, no matter what we do, right? Those of us who are here know, like, this is a spiritual journey as well. And so generating more wealth is really a spiritual experience of, you know, looking within and going, what is holding me back? You know, do I have yucky beliefs about money that don't need to be there, and it's actually repelling money? So that's what we talked about yesterday. And today I want to talk to you about the only 2 things. It makes it very simple. I really am about a simple business model. Those of you who know me, who have worked with me, or have watched my webinar and are considering working with me, know that really it's about a simplified, very simple leverage business model. So you're not out there trying to do everything, get visible on Facebook and Facebook Lives and Facebook groups and Instagram and blogging and Snapchatting and trying to do speaking gigs and networking and write a best-selling book and all that before you can get clients. It's like total bullshit, right? The only 2 things that you need to focus on when you have a high ticket business is what I'm going to talk about today. It makes it very simple. It makes it so that when you rock up to work every day, when you have a high ticket business, you're doing the energetic work to release any junk that you have about charging high ticket and actually accumulating and holding and circulating more wealth. Then you know exactly what you have to do every single day. These 2 things, all right? So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So, but before I sort of share that with you, what I want to share with you though first is that, you know, when you are in a high ticket business, just made some bulletproof coffee, so I don't want it to get cold. If you have questions, please pop them in. Like usual, I like to flow a bit, and then I will answer your questions, but I love to see you guys in here. And of course, remember that, you know, don't be afraid to ask questions. No question is a stupid question, and you're probably helping someone else if you ask your question. All right, and this is really your time to get some live coaching with me, so take advantage of it. Okay, that's why I'm here, and I won't be doing these like all the time, but I will do them more often, I think, because they're fun and I like it. So the thing that I was just going to say is that, you know, what you need to understand when you've decided to have a high ticket business, okay, is that you can only sell high ticket on the phone. Nobody buys, this is currently where the market is, right? It will change. It will definitely change. It will definitely, change in a way that people will have the capacity to, hi Marcy, to pay more online. Right now, it's really capped out at about $2,000. People don't really spend more than $19.97 or $2,000 online for something without talking to a live person. All right, and even then, that system and the way that you have that set up has to be really dialed in. But that's not our model right now. I'm not saying that you shouldn't look at that model, but you should look at that you should look at that later. Once you've created and mastered your high ticket business, the sky is the limit on then the products you can create that are more passive, okay? But a lot of people, what I see, a lot of coaches, they try to do that route first. And they fail because they try to come up with a course that sells and it doesn't sell. And it's just because they haven't tested the market. They haven't created something that they've worked with multiple clients, mastering, knowing that it gets results. That's the time that you can create an automated passive program where you're not involved and the person is going through that, okay? So in my opinion, and this is from years of experience and investing in coaches who are also like really at the top of their field, the best thing to do is to, charge more, increase your prices, get in a high ticket niche, and then master sales, okay? And then later you can go on to the passive income products. So my point here though is that in order to sell high ticket, so anything over 2,000, you need to have sales conversations. And this is where a lot of people, a lot of coaches, even myself included, when I first started this business, I hated sales so much. I hated those calls. I hated strategy calls, discovery calls, sales conversations, whatever you want to call them, because I wasn't good at them. And I felt like I wasted all this time with people who just told me no, or they didn't have the money, or, they'll get back to me, X, Y, Z, right? Have you guys ever heard that? Tomorrow we're going to dive right into sales conversations. So make sure you come here and you're prepared with your live questions. Hey, Jess, about your sales conversations and how they're going. And if you're not doing sales conversations right now, that's the reason you're not making the money that you want to make in your business. If you are doing sales conversations and they're not converting, no worries, I was a little bit late too. And they're not converting, then that's what we're going to go over tomorrow. Bring your questions about what's going on your calls, and so I can help you. I've invested heavily in sales coaches so that I can master sales, and it's one of the things that I teach my clients how to do really, really, really well. We really want to convert most of our calls, but there's a very specific way to do those calls. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. Most of the coaches that even come to me and work with me privately, they say that they've had some sales training, but they're not converting any of their calls. So even if you think you've done some sales training, if it's not converting, if you're not booking a consistent flow of clients, then it's not working. All right, so tomorrow we're going to be talking more about the details of sales conversations. But what I'm trying to let you know right now is that you really can only have a high ticket business doing sales conversations. So that's inevitable. If you have an aversion to it, you got to get over it, because you're going to have to do sales conversations. You're going to have to master strategy calls, discovery calls, however you want to call them. Hi, Laura. You're going to have those conversations. Okay. There's just no other way to have this business and to meet your income goals. If you just are hoping that 10 people are going to buy your $197 course, that's fine. First, it's not going to happen and you know it. And second, even if it did, how much is that? $2,000? Takes a whole lot of work to try to sell 10 copies of a $200 course. For what? It just doesn't make sense. And it doesn't even get you anywhere close to your income goals, like something that you can live on, right? We're not talking about even extravagance here. We're just talking about what you can live on. So sales conversations are the only way, all right? So I just want to make that really, really clear here. That has to be part of the model. You can't sell a $3,000 program online. You have to have a conversation, okay? So if you resist this, you will struggle, period. So, and what I'm just looking at my notes here for what I was going to say to you guys, creating the passive course, that $197 course or $597 course or $997 course needs to come later. It's when you've mastered your program, when people really get amazing results, when you understand your messaging and your market and how it converts really well, that's when you can create a passive product that actually sells, that actually brings you money in when you sleep. But not before, not the first thing, because it doesn't really work. All right. So the first thing to do is really master your messaging, getting in a high ticket niche and mastering sales conversations, enrolling people into your $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 program. Then you are living a 5-figure a month business, 6 figures a year. At that point, you can start thinking about more passive stuff. And the cool thing about strategy calls is like what I just implemented is that now I don't take strategy calls anymore. I have 2 amazing girls that take my strategy calls. And so you can build out a sales team if that's what you want, right? You don't have to do them forever. It's not part of it. And it's not, the funny thing is that now I love them and I master them and they're fun for me, but I can't effectively take strategy calls and serve my clients, right? It's just there's so much flow coming in that I can't actually do things like this. Like now I can do more stuff like this that I just do for fun to serve you guys and all that because I don't have to be on the phone all the time enrolling new clients. Yeah? So sky's the limit, and I just want to let you know that. Okay, so back to the only 2 things that you need to focus on in a high ticket business is, number 1, getting strategy calls. There's a number of ways you can do this. Of course, you guys know if you're here that I talk about a paid traffic funnel, and that's what we set up in my course and my program. But there are organic ways. There are organic ways for you to try to get strategy calls, and I'm going to talk about that today. Okay? But number 1, the only 2 things you need to focus on. Number 1, getting strategy calls. Getting your calendar booked with strategy calls. If you don't have your calendar booked with strategy calls right now, there's no way that you're going to meet your income goals. So it's the only one, the first most important thing. How can you get as many strategy calls on your calendar as possible? Okay? Then number 2, learning how to convert those calls into clients. That's a skill that you do need to learn, right? So it's get the call on your calendar, and then you got to make sure that you learn how exactly to handle those calls. It's not getting on the phone being like, hi, want to buy my program? No. There's a very, very, very important process. It's human behavior, it's psychology, it's really understanding getting someone to the point where they get resourceful enough to understand that they have to invest in this, otherwise nothing's going to change in their life. It's very empowering. It's a very, very beautiful process to help someone step into the next level of their life. So you got to switch any kind of yuckiness you have around sales. It's so important, guys. All right, so we'll go more deep into sales conversations tomorrow. Of course, if you have questions now, you can bring them. But really what I wanted to kind of share with you today is that there's 2 things only. So what should you do today? What should you go out and do right now to make more money this week? Get more strategy calls. So we'll talk about that, right? Today we'll talk a little bit about how can you get more strategy calls on your calendar right now. Even if you don't know Facebook ads at all, which I don't recommend you do them if you don't know what you're doing because you can blow through a lot of money. There are organic ways, right? And of course, we don't want to be doing organic ways. What I mean by that are manual ways to post everywhere. We don't want to be doing that forever because who the hell has time for that? And that's not the lifestyle business that we decided we would create, right? But when you're just getting started or when you're trying to increase your income, there's no reason why you shouldn't use these free organic ways of getting strategy calls. So, number 1, there's really 2 parts to this. Number 1 is you create a Facebook post on your personal profile, Facebook post on your fan page, although not many people see that, so your Facebook profile is better. If you're not using your Facebook profile for your business, you have to be, girl. You really have to be because, I know some people are like, no, but I want to keep my business separate. Well, when you're a thought leader and when you're a coach, your personal profile has to become all you, 100% you, which is your business, which is what you stand for, which is what you believe in, the results you get your clients, what you're doing every day. It has to become all of you. So you can go to my Facebook profile and actually look at what I post. It's not like I'm always posting about business, but I do post about business and my thoughts on business, things like that. Okay. So you can make a Facebook post. You can get some ideas from my profile. Take a sip of coffee. You should make them, if you're making like a written post, sometimes you can do a post like if you're, and you like call out the symptoms of your person and you talk about the results that you get and invite them to a strategy call. Like sometimes, like 1 out of maybe 7 or 8 posts, okay? You don't want to like spam people with that. But other ways, you'd be surprised. Like there's other ways that I post sometimes, like of course, if we hit a big milestone in business, I'll even post about that. And then sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes at the end I say, hey, if you want these kinds of results, PM me. It's a great way to do it. And I get a ton of people who PM me, right? And so sometimes you need to give the invitation when you say that in a post, because otherwise people don't realize that you want them to do that, and that's welcome. So it's really good to do that. The other thing that's great to do in a Facebook post is post a testimonial or a screenshot that you got from a client, so people see the kinds of results that you're getting for people. Another great way to post is to bust myths. So we talk about this in my program. Some of the amazing, really like advanced psychology in creating messaging, like business messaging, marketing, is to bust a myth. So for example, if most people think that gluten is bad for them, but you don't, it's a really, really powerful post that you can go on about what most people think and then go, but that's actually not the truth. So it's a great way to establish expertise. People are engaged in those kinds of posts. And in those posts, you don't have to say anything like, hey, PM me. So these are all the like different, what else? Yeah, you can just do a post about their symptoms, things like that, calling on your person. You can put this on your profile. You can put this on your fan page. You can put this on your Instagram. You can post these in Facebook groups also. So that's another, way that a lot of people have built their business. I have not, and I just loathe it, but I found another way, right? But I'm just saying to you, like, if you're not yet able and like, understanding how the automated leveraged way of using paid traffic works, then you can absolutely use some of these other free tools that are at your disposal to start getting some more money in the door so that you can get to the next level. So all those are ways. And then the thing to really do, and this is sort of the scary thing, is when people comment on those posts or even like it, you can private message them. Or you can invite them to private message you if they say something like they're interested. But even if they don't, if they comment on it, it's a very, very, very powerful strategy to message them and just be like, oh, hey, Christina, like I saw that you saw my post. So excited. How are things going for you? You don't have to be like, hi, I want to help you. You want to have a strategy call? No, you just start a conversation. You just be a normal, natural human being that wants to connect and be genuinely curious. What's going on with you? What's the top thing that you're focused on right now? Whatever it's related to your niche, but like you don't have to dive right into that. Just say like, have you had that experience? Like one of the things I posted about or something. Just think of a conversation. If you were in person with someone, what would you say? And start a conversation. And if it goes well and that person seems genuinely interested, and even if not, you can just offer them a free call. It's a great way to get a lot of calls on your calendar, even if they're not totally qualified, even if they weren't looking for a coach. But I have definitely enrolled a lot of people this way. People who were not out seeking me, and we still, I reached out privately and made the connection and invited them to a call, and they enrolled with me. So it works, and it's a practice. And it is something that you have to stay really committed to, okay? And so if there's any questions on that, let me know. I know that, that can bring up a lot of stuff. It can be a little bit scary. Hi, Ariel. And, but it's very powerful. And these are the things that you have to do if you're committed to your goals, right? If you're committed to making it happen, you just go like, you know what? I'm staying unemotional about my fear coming up here, and I'm going for it. I decided I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it. So really, those are the ways that you can organically get strategy calls. Also, if you have an email list already, on every email you should invite people to have a call with you. Okay? You should invite people to have a call with you. You should do a thought-provoking, like very connecting email, and then you want to invite them to have a call with you if they want to get their kinds of results that you get. And then the final thing I'll say to that is just make sure you have an automatic scheduler going. I mean, at this point, I think that most people do, and you know about it, and you've probably used one with someone. But just make sure you have one in place, because you know, when you are private messaging someone and they say yes to the strategy call, you just want an easy link to go to. You know, you just want an easy link for them to be able to schedule with you without time zone questions and that kind of thing. You know, if it's easy enough and like, you know, that person already is in here. Okay, so here's the caveat to that. If I was private messaging with someone and I thought that, you know, like I offered them a call and they said yes, and I thought that, like, you know, I'm excited about the call, and you know, there's a possibility that, and I know they're in Eastern time zone and I'm in Mountain time zone, like I probably would say, like, how does tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern work for you, knowing that my time zone is 11, their time zone is 1, and just making it easy. I do the calculation for them, and because I want to have the call as soon as possible. It's a very important thing to understand that, like, when someone is in the mood, you have the connection. If you leave it for days, people forget, they get out of the mood, they cancel, that kind of thing. So when you say, like, how's tomorrow at 1, and they say yes, boom. But if you already know, like, the time zone, they're like in Hawaii, you're like, I don't even know how many hours that is, and you know, it's just better to send them to your Meet Me. I use Schedule Once, and so you just send them the link. And then if you have an email system, hi Erin, if you have an email system, it's really great to, I mean, if you're sending emails and you're inviting them, just make sure you put a link in for an automatic scheduler, so you're not like sending them like, hey, email me and we'll figure out a time. Like, that's just crazy. The other thing you want to do is make sure that you have an application in place or some sort of questionnaire, you know, and this is really, you know, it's a good kind of letting you decide if they're qualified. Now, again, if you meet them and you kind of private message them on Facebook, you don't necessarily need them to apply. You're willing to get on the phone with them. You know, in the beginning, you're probably going to get on the phone with some people who are not very qualified. At this point in my business, our system is really dialed in, so I'm only getting on the phone with people that I believe are really qualified, right? But in the very beginning, I would pretty much get on the phone with anyone who would give me the time of day, you know, because, like, you never know, and that's the attitude you have to have. So, but, you know, it's nice in your email, if you are sending a link and saying, like, invite them to have a call with you, it's nice to have the scheduler and then, like, some questions. And the questions should just be qualifier, and it also helps you have an understanding of where they're at and the kind of results that they want before they get on the phone with you. So you just have an understanding before the call. It just helps. It's not necessary, but it helps. So that's all I got. Like, I don't want to overwhelm you. I'm going to just remind you that only 2 things that you need to focus on in a high ticket business, the only 2 things every single day are what? Number 1, getting more calls on your calendar. And number 2, converting those calls to clients, which we're going to talk about more tomorrow in having better sales conversations. Any questions? Preguntas, questions. So I sit in front of a light, and it definitely helps to make the video. We're gonna talk about calls tomorrow. It helps to make the video better and or you know, like, look nicer and more professional. But dang, it's like bright, and my head starts to hurt after a bit. Great, Jen. Glad. Yeah, me too, Jess. The conversations are really, really, really important. It is absolutely necessary to master those calls, and it is it's probably one of the most challenging parts of this, you know, because you know that light. Awesome. Yeah. Sales conversations brings up a lot of our stuff, a lot of our junk. It's a great way to kind of know where you're at energetically, vibrationally, is what you're attracting in the clients, what you're hearing. So if you hear a lot of, I don't have the money, then it's a really good insight into how much you're saying that in your life. Oh, I don't have the money for that. I don't have the money for that. I don't have the money. Oh, I don't have the money. You're going to probably hear that a lot from your people. Yeah, whatever the thing is you're hearing. Do you have like a payment plan to like, make it $100 a month over the next like 20 years? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, how are you doing that? And like, if you want people to pay in full, then you need to start paying in full, things like that. Yeah, the conversations are, it's a really big thing. I used to hate them. But it's really fun when you don't hate them anymore. It really is fun. So it feels good. The conversion rate you want to strive for is at like 25%. So if you're not at 25%, then there's some improvements you need to make. So you want to be, let's say, like 3 out of 10 calls you want to be converting. And so imagine that if you have 10 calls even on your calendar for the week, and you have a $10,000 goal for the month, you should hit that goal in that week. Easy. Yeah, for sure. And like, honestly, if you're not doing that, then it's going to be super frustrating, because then you're having a lot of calls and it's taking hours of your time and you're not getting paid for it. So that's what's really frustrating about that. So it's totally worth it to get a refined sales script, really understand how that works, and so that you can start booking more clients. Any other questions about today? How to get more calls on your calendar? The only 2 things that you need to focus on in a high ticket business. So doesn't that take the guesswork out, guys? Doesn't that like help you know, like, you know what, if I'm posting on Instagram right now, is it going to get me another strategy call? And if it's not, it's a waste of my time. Makes sense, right? Is writing a book right now, if I really need money in my bank account, is that the best thing to do right now? No. What can you do right now to get more strategy calls? Because that is the only thing that's going to get you more money and more clients. Easy. That's it. So when you like sit down for the day and you're like, okay, how am I going to hit my goals? What do I do to just get more calls? And that might mean just doing manual posts, reaching out to people privately, right? These are the manual ways that you do it in the beginning to get more money so that you can start investing in paid traffic. I use Schedule Once. That's the one that I use. And all my clients are, we use that. Yeah, there's a couple reasons why that don't really matter to you right now. There's a few things that Schedule Once can do that other ones can't do. And in relation to like an automated funnel that we set up, that's what we use. So if you want to go with that and you think that you're going to set up an automated funnel at some point so you don't have to change later, I would just go with Schedule Once. It's not the prettiest one, I think, and I tend to want to go toward the ones that are like more aesthetically like Calendly, I think, or Acuity. They kind of look maybe a little bit nicer, but they don't have the functionality. And believe me, I've tried, and a lot of my clients have, and then they always come back to Schedule Once just because it has the functionality. So I just go with that. And I like the meetme.so / it's easy. It's just easy, and it works. Yeah, and now I have multiple salespeople all set up under Schedule Once, so it's just like it definitely has great functionality. Alrighty, Rue. Is that it? No more questions? Preguntas? Questions? Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm so happy you're here live. It's so fun. Hey, Sarah. I'm just finishing up. But go back and listen to the replay if you missed the beginning. We got some really good stuff in about the only 2 things that you need to focus on to have a high ticket business and to really meet your $10,000 goal every month and scale up from there, okay? Makes it very simple. If you have any questions, post them later. Oh, call to action today is, what are you going to do today to get more strategy calls on your calendar? What are you going to do today to get more strategy calls on your calendar? And then, of course, I'd love to hear if you got any strategy calls on your calendar since you watched this. Okay? And the mantra is, I love sales conversations because I love helping people step in to the next level of themselves. I love sales conversations because I love helping people step into the next level of themselves. Ciao. Hasta mañana. See you tomorrow. Bye.